Hello, everybody, and welcome back to TeacherCast. My name is Jeff Bradbury, and I have a question for you. Have you ever been in a situation where you were working with your teachers and you needed to find the perfect lesson for them? Maybe you're sitting down in a coaching cycle and you're trying to figure out how to support one, two, or a group of teachers, and you're not quite sure where to find the resources, how to put things together, or how to give your teachers exactly what they need. Well, on today's episode of TeacherCast, I bring you today a fantastic new AI application called Insta Lesson, and we're going to walk you through it and help you guys make the most of your coaching cycles. So stick around for this episode of Digital Learning Today. Welcome back, everybody. I am so excited to have you guys here today. My guest is the founder and creator of Insta Lesson, an amazing new AI tool that is going to revolutionize the way that instructional coaches are interacting with their teachers and creating resources for their school districts. I want to bring on today the founder and creator of Insta Lesson, Mr. Robert Barnett. Robert, how are you today? Welcome to TeacherCast.
I'm doing great. Thank you, Jeff. It's a pleasure to be here.
Some of you might be remembering Rob was on our podcast a few weeks ago and showed off just a quick beta version of how this works. And we are excited to see what Insta Lesson is and how it can help instructional coaches. So Rob, what is Insta Lesson and what is it able to do in our classrooms?
Insta Lesson is the simplest and most useful AI tool for teachers. I wanted to create something where a teacher or a coach puts in the topic of a lesson, the grade level, the standard, and AI creates everything else. Gives you a video your students can watch, gives you practice questions, gives you an exit ticket, and creates all of this in a way that's fully editable, so you can customize this lesson to your students and your community. Simple, useful, and pedagogically sound. That's what Insta Lesson's all about.
Now, Rob, I remember being an instructional coach for many years, working with teachers, having them share with me a little bit about their curriculum. And then it was up to me to go back into my office, or even worse, on the spot, try to come up with lesson ideas and slide decks and visuals. You've created Insta Lesson to be the tool for every single instructional coach. Talk to us a little bit about how it works.
Insta Lesson is your one-stop shop for lessons. Instead of going one place for slides and one place for an exit ticket and one place for a warm-up, with Insta Lesson you get everything you need based on your lesson topic and your standard and your grade level. So you'll go to Insta Lesson, you'll type in the lesson topic, the grade level, the standards, and Insta Lesson will walk you through the process of creating each element of an effective lesson. So there's direct instruction from a high-quality instructional video. There's guided notes that students will take as they receive the direct instruction. There's practice problems, there's an exit ticket. And then Insta Lesson sends you all of this in about a minute or two, all in Google Docs that are fully editable. So you'll receive a warm-up, practice problems, a slide deck you can show to students, exit tickets you can print. The idea is it's hard to create a full lesson. Insta Lesson makes it easy for you and gives you the starting point so you can edit everything you get to meet your learners' needs.
Rob, let's take a look at your demo. I'd love to see this in action.
Sure, Jeff. Here's how Insta Lesson works. I'm going to choose the topic of an upcoming lesson. Let's just say adding fractions. I'll choose the grade level of the students, and I can paste in here a learning standard if I have it. Here's the Common Core standard on adding fractions. When I select Help Me Refine the Lesson, Insta Lesson will use AI to help me craft a complete and effective lesson on this topic. A good lesson, of course, starts with a good learning objective. So here's my proposed learning objective. This is fully editable. And so if I want, I could change this. Let's just make it simpler. I can add fractions with different denominators. Next, what Insta Lesson will do is going to search every video on YouTube to find a high-quality instructional video on this content. This video is going to provide students with direct instruction on the topic and is also going to serve as the basis for the rest of the lesson that Insta Lesson will create. So this can take a little while, but here are 3 videos. I can watch them each and choose one. For the purposes of this demo, I know Let's Do Math. This is a really good channel, so I'll select this video. Also, by the way, if you have a video you already like, you can always paste it here. And the next step is going to be identifying key points from the video. So watching a video to learn isn't a passive experience. Students should be active. What students can do while they watch the video is fill in these key points from the video. This looks pretty good, but maybe I want to make it a little simpler. Let me just say, make this simpler. And AI here is really working with you to craft a lesson that works well for your students. So here's nice, simple notes here for students to do. And I might say, first find this. Now students have some key points to take away from the video as they watch. Next up, we know that students learn by doing, right? And so InstaLesson will use AI to create some practice questions that students can complete after watching the video. Here are questions on adding fractions, and you'll see that these questions actually get, when you use InstaLesson, these questions actually get more complex from 1 to 7, so students are really deepening their understanding. Again, here you can suggest improvements, you can make improvements directly, and when you're ready, you move on to the final step, which is creating an exit ticket. Here's an exit ticket on this lesson. Nice, simple problem on adding fractions. Should really measure whether students have it. Final step is just to get the lesson, and all you need here is an email address. So I'll put in my email address here. I'll hit submit, and InstaLesson right now is generating fully editable Google Docs that I can use I can edit and then share with my students, either digitally or on print. These are going to arrive to me by email, but actually I'll just wait here for a moment to see the student lesson, which is going to be produced right in front of our eyes. The goal here is to produce something that is really useful. You can print it and give it to students right away and help them learn about the topic that you've chosen. So we should be in about 5 seconds. We should have a student lesson produced and ready for us to use. Here we go. And right on time. The student lesson is ready to view and edit. Let me open up this student lesson here so we can take a look. So the student lesson is let me close these tabs. It's a 2-page Google Doc that's printable, and it has a couple of things. The first thing is the link to the instructional video. So if I'm sharing this digitally, I can just click it. But also, if I print this for students, they can visit ilesson.co and enter this code. Let's see what happens when they do that. When they do that, they're going to be taken to this page, which has the instructional video from YouTube, but it's not on YouTube. It doesn't have all those distracting things. Here's the video on adding fractions. Students can watch the video. They have space to take notes. Here are those key points we came up with for students to fill out during and after watching the video. And then here are the practice problems for students to complete. This is something students can complete with their classmates to develop their understanding of the content. So this is the student lesson. Now, let me show you what you're going to receive in your email as a teacher guide and supplemental resources. So in addition to that student lesson, in your email, you're going to get a couple more things. Here's the student lesson I just showed you. You're also going to get a teacher guide and lesson slides. Let me show you those. The teacher guide is going to explain how you can deliver this lesson effectively with directions for teachers, directions for learners, some additional resources, which I'll show in a moment, and then some teaching tips for delivering this lesson effectively. Here are some anticipated challenges. Here are modifications you can make for multilingual learners. Here are creative activities you can add. And then if you look at the lesson notes, you'll see that the lesson is aligned to that Common Core standard and with an explanation of how it's aligned. If you click through the tabs on the teacher guide, you're also going to see a warm-up. This is something you could print and give to students. Here's that exit ticket. Again, it's meant to be printed and given to students in class. Here's some additional practice. If students still struggle, there's more that they can work on. Here's an extension activity for students who are really advanced and want to go further with the topic. And then finally, here's an answer key that has answers for everything, the key points, the lesson practice, additional practice, and the exit ticket. The last thing I'll show you from the email are your lesson slides. So if you open this up, you'll see this is a slide deck that has the key pieces of the lesson and is ready to be shown with students. Here's the warm-up. Here's some information about the lesson, that video, key points, practice questions, extension, and exit ticket. And all of this, by the way, I should have mentioned, all of this is fully editable. I can edit the slides. I can edit the teacher guide. And if I want to open up that student lesson, I can make all about adding fractions. I can make edits here. So the goal of InstaLesson is really to, from one place, create everything you need for a complete student-facing lesson. Hope that explains it.
Rob, as an instructional coach myself, I can clearly see how something like InstaLesson is able to not only save me so much time, create credibility for myself in the classrooms where, to be honest, I'm not always so good with those subjects, but also be able to supply my teachers, my building, and my district with so many great lesson activities and lesson starters. The big question is, where do we go to find it?
It's at instalesson.com. That's insta-lesson.com. It's a free tool. It's available for any subject, any grade level. I hope you'll use it, and I hope it will empower you, your teachers, and your students.
So that wraps up this episode of Digital Learning Today. If you like this, hit that like and subscribe button. Leave a comment below if you've been making InstaLesson part of your digital toolbox. And thank you, Rob, so much for joining us today. I hope you're the best. Please come back on the show soon.
Thank you, Jeff.
And that wraps up this episode of TeacherCast. On behalf of Rob and everybody here, my name is Jeff Bradbury, reminding you guys to keep up the great work in your classroom and continue sharing your passions with your students.